I didn't say a word when she walked out that night. The front door closed behind her with a soft click, but to me, it sounded like a final verdict, the kind that ends marriages, not arguments. She left wearing that red dress I once said made her look dangerous, her perfume trailing through the hallway like a warning I hadn't learned to heed. Just one night, she'd said earlier. It's a reunion, not a wild party. Don't make it a big deal. But it was a big deal. Because I knew who would be there, and what kind of person he was. Ethan. Her old friend from college. The one who always made her laugh. The one who still texted her memes at midnight. The one she swore was harmless. I told her calmly that I wasn't comfortable. That the last few months she'd been distant, always on her phone, smiling at messages I didn't get to see. She said I was overthinking. You're turning into one of those jealous husbands, she laughed, and something inside me cracked. That was the start of the silence. The house was too quiet after she left. I sat in the living room with the TV playing nothing I could follow. My phone stayed on the table, screen black. No messages, no calls. At midnight I went upstairs. Her side of the bed was untouched. I lay down anyway, staring at the ceiling, every creak of the floorboards sounding like footsteps that never came. By 2 a.m. I stopped pretending to sleep. I checked her location on Find My Phone, something I'd never done before. The dot blinked near an address in the city, not the hotel where the reunion was supposed to be. I zoomed in. It was a condo building. My stomach turned. I told myself not to assume. Maybe she went with friends after the party. Maybe she was drunk and staying over. Maybe I was imagining things. But deep down I knew. At 3 I texted her. You okay? No reply. At 4 I stopped caring about sleep altogether. I sat by the window, watching dawn slowly replace the dark, like time itself was mocking me for waiting. She came home at 8. I heard the car door, then the slow jingle of her keys at the door. My chest tightened as I sat up. When she stepped in, the first thing I noticed was the smell. Not perfume, not alcohol, but someone else's cologne. It lingered faintly on her clothes, mixed with the scent of sweat and regret. Hey, she said softly, eyes red, mascara smudged. I didn't mean to be out this late. My phone died. I didn't respond. I just looked at her. The disheveled hair, the wrinkled dress, the uneasy tremor in her voice. You could have texted from someone else's phone, I said, keeping my voice steady. I didn't think. You didn't think. Yeah, that sounds about right. She sighed, setting her purse down like she wanted to reset the argument before it began. Daniel, please. Don't do this now. I'm tired. I just need a shower. Did you stay at Ethan's place? The air between us froze. Her body stiffened, barely noticeable, but enough. No, she said too quickly. Why would you even? Because I checked your location, I cut in. And it said you were at an apartment in the city. Not the hotel. Not your friend's house. So go ahead, explain that. Her lips parted, then closed again. Silence. And in that silence, I heard everything I needed to. For days, we danced around the truth like strangers avoiding eye contact at a funeral. She insisted nothing happened. I crashed at a friend's place, that's all. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just withdrew. Our conversations became logistics. What time are you home? Did you feed the cat? Can you pick up groceries? It was strange how betrayal didn't always explode. Sometimes it just suffocated quietly. But then came the envelope. A few nights later, when she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked. I know that. But curiosity is what's left when trust dies. The message was from Ethan. Last night was worth every risk. Attached was a photo. Blurry but unmistakable. Her in that same red dress, leaning against his shoulder at the bar. His hand on her waist. My hand shook. My chest felt hollow. I didn't say a word. I took a screenshot, sent it to myself, and put her phone back where it was. When she came out, wrapped in a towel, she smiled faintly. Hey, you okay? I'm fine, I said. Just thinking. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted her to feel safe, to believe I hadn't found out. Because I needed to see who she was when she thought she was still fooling me. And for a while I watched her perform. She'd kiss my cheek in the morning, text me "love you" during work hours, cook dinner like everything was fine. But her laughter didn't reach her eyes anymore. Mine didn't either. One evening I told her we should go for dinner. A proper date, I said. Like old times. She lit up instantly. We went to the same restaurant where I'd proposed 8 years earlier. The same corner table, the same candlelight glow. She seemed nervous but hopeful, maybe thinking it was a chance to fix things. Over wine she reached for my hand. "I've missed this," she said softly. "Me too," I replied, staring at her fingers, the same fingers that had probably run through another man's hair just days ago. I pulled out my phone and placed it on the table, screen up. Her photo with Ethan filled the screen. The color drained from her face. "Daniel," she whispered. "Was it worth it?" Yes. She tried to speak, but nothing came. The waiter walked by, oblivious, refilling water glasses as if the world wasn't collapsing between us. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she finally said, voice cracking. "It was stupid, it was one night." One night. I laughed bitterly. That's supposed to make it better. Tears welled in her eyes. "I thought you didn't care anymore. You've been distant, cold. I needed to feel something. So you went to him. I made a mistake." "No," I said, standing slowly. "You made a choice." I left her sitting there, tears dripping onto the tablecloth. That night I packed a bag and went to stay with my brother. I called. Once. Then a dozen times. I didn't answer. Her messages turned from apologies to pleas, then to silence. A week later she showed up at my brother's door. Her face was pale, eyes sunken. "Daniel, please," she said, voice trembling. "I can't eat, I can't sleep. I'll do anything to fix this." I looked at her, the woman I once loved more than my own heartbeat, and felt nothing. "You can't fix what you broke," I said quietly. "You can only live with it." She started crying. "It didn't mean anything." "Then why did you risk everything for it?" "Yes. Why did you look me in the eye that morning and lie?" She had no answer. I turned away and walked inside, closing the door as gently as she had that night she left. Full circle. Months passed. The divorce was quiet, almost clinical. No shouting, no lawyers clawing at each other. Just signatures, boxes, and silence. She moved to a small apartment across town. Mutual friends said she looked lost, like someone waiting for a train that wasn't coming back. I didn't ask about her. I didn't want to know. But sometimes when I drove home late, I'd catch myself thinking about that red dress. How beautiful she looked in it the first time I saw her, how dangerous it became the last time she wore it. Love doesn't die in an instant. It fades like smoke, leaving behind a smell you can't quite wash out. I learned to live with it. One morning, months after everything ended, I found a small envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a note, written in her handwriting. "You were right. It wasn't worth it. I'll regret it for the rest of my life." No apology. No plea. Just a confession wrapped in quiet despair. I stared at it for a long time, then folded it neatly and tucked it in a drawer. Because the truth was I'd already forgiven her. Not because she deserved it, but because I needed peace. But forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. Sometimes late at night when the world goes still, I think about that night, the night she went to the party anyway. The silence that followed wasn't just the absence of sound. It was the death of trust. The moment love turned into something fragile and cold. And though she came back the next morning, what returned wasn't my wife. It was a stranger wearing her face, carrying the weight of choices that couldn't be undone. And I was just the man who finally learned that silence can say everything words never will.